Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the first time that we've got a chance to look at some of these PlayStation teams. We're going to take a look right now at Souls versus Takedown, who we just took a look at.
Takedown doing a good job winning their set against Sif. Souls struggling a little bit against Charizard in my backyard, but anything goes in the group play.
That's absolutely true. And one of the more fun things about this, I've had a lot of questions on my stream and stuff. This is brand new players, brand new experiences, don't know what to expect. Usually as commentators, we like to lean on that history. We like to look at how the players have been doing. We don't have any of that. So we're learning just with you, and it's been a long time since we've gotten to do that, Totally.
A fresh breath of air going into this game because there could be some wild strategies between these two teams, separating Pro League from Minor League, from Global Series to console, now to PlayStation things. You never really know what to expect sometimes.
Exactly, and once upon a time when the console league, when the Xbox guys first started going out there, we noticed a very different sort of draft concern and a very different sort of meta between the Xbox and the PC. Now, part of that was, I think, console and controller limitation, which is actually just player limitation. And the other side was a brand new world and group of players. Here, watching the first two matches, I saw you watching intently, Tully. What have you noticed so far?
I feel like a lot of these teams, you can see the difference in the skill gap in terms of what team is going for the objectives and what team is hitting the abilities. But I think that as the day kind of progresses and is warming up, some of these other teams that are not successful, like Souls, could easily use that as warm-up to be able to win this potential next one.
Well, taking a look at the bans so far, nothing too out of the ordinary. We've got the Chernobyl, we've got the Athena, we've got the Shivalanke, the Susanoo. Kind of a curious ban here. It's not something we see often, but definitely can be a character that can, the term I use is pub stomp. He can take over versus less communicative teams. And when you're in sort of an inaugural event like this, I think that is something worth noticing.
He wiggles very quickly, does a lot of burst damage, difficult to really lock down if you're not used to it. It seems that Takedown was a little too worried about it, so they'd rather get that off the table and go for a different kind of jungler themselves.
Well, Janus, Sobek, and then Soul's going to wrap up their first half of the draft with one more choice here. It's going to be the Terra. I like this draft so far. Terra has a fantastic team fight, as does Sobek and Janus. What more can you say about the God of Portals? Across the way, though, for all of the control that Souls have, TD, they got Artemis, they got Cerberus, they're going to bring some Geb. So they've got a lot of damage with the first two, but Geb's a nice look to protect.
It's a good safety. Artemis late game thrives if she can get there. Geb will give her that push to make sure she'll transition safely with the shields, the cataclysm, the knockups. This is a true support god being able to help a hyper character.
Love the Jingwei ban here. Geb really falters against Jingwei because his main control is knock-up and she's able to fly out. You're actually helping Jingwei when you use Geb knock-up most of the time. So the immediate ban there, and then the Hachiman ban, just trying to give Artemis a little bit easier over time there in lane. Souls, a mid laner, and a control-oriented jungler.
No Jingwei for Souls. It's a good counter matchup to make sure you survive some of those Geb engagements. Ratatoskr, some global pressure now for Takedown, trying to battle with this Janus. If Janus ever tries to escape with that through space and time, well, through the cosmos are coming out.
Yeah, going to be a lot of fun here. That's going to be an Ullr, though. No CC immunity on that lack of ult, so might be a little bit tough dealing with Cerberus, Geb, and Artemis. Three characters with a ton of crowd control availability. But I like the Thor to sort of balance things out.
More globals on globals, so anywhere Rat goes, Thor will follow, or vice versa potentially. It's all about who is cleanup crew that might have more success actually in this game.
Could be very possible. Agni, the final selection for TD. I do like where Takedown is going. They've got a ton of control across the board, and then just Artemis to shoot people in the face.
Artemis late game, if she can get there, she'll thrive. Soul's goal and objective is to not allow that to happen with all this global pressure. The side lanes from Souls needs to be very mindful, which is why they go for this very defensive-oriented Sobek in the solo lane, trying to survive, transition for a lot of control alongside the Terra. I like the draft from Souls.
It's going to be an interesting one. Game numero uno. And Souls versus Takedown. Right now, representing Souls, well, all five of them grouping up here. You've got Lyric in the hunter position. AlLoro will be his support. We've got Bikwandu in the middle lane on that Janus. Jose in the jungle on Thor. Then the solo lane, Ivan Malaga. Across the way, Tier Toxic, Drizzle, oTPC, Franky, and Eddie98 are going to make Takedown from solo to hunter, respectively. Welcome to the scene, my friends. Good luck to these teams. Very interested to see where everybody goes. And right away, Eddie starting to bang.
A little fireworks already in this duo lane, as it normally is the case when there's an Artemis on one side or the other. One's trying to aggress and get some of those passive critical strike shots on the other side. Trying to use those abilities. The stun from the Terra can easily set up the Ullr, or vice versa even. Eddie in a little bit of trouble. Franky now needs to body block.
There's a nice knock-up, and yeah, Eddie got aggressive initially, but might be paying for it a little bit. Lyric ticking up because of that health bot. Went health and mana potion, or health and multi-potion, so could look to be very aggressive, and he will. Nice stun, but the follow-up lacking.
It's all about the constant chip poke damage you can do at the first lane that'll establish the primary dominance to transition into some of these purple buff invades. Takedown needs to avoid some of these axes from Lyric. They've been pretty accurate thus far, hitting 2 out of 3.
Mid lane, on the other hand, Janus versus Agni. Very classic combo.
Okay.
Jose going to go over the wall, look for the Berserkers.
Aggressive stance. I like this already, trying to get off some poke damage. But Drizzle not really concerned because he positioned himself to clear that first wave. And I thought he was thinking about maybe going for those left side mid harpies, trying to min-max his farm, but instead going for the invade.
There's the portal, and the last hit could come through, but he misses. Still finds it with the flurry. Red buff goes down to the Ratatoskr. Nice job.
Really min-maxing his stuff. I thought for sure he was going to get the left side mids, guaranteed free farming. But now, after stealing away the red, looking for a potential gank on the dual lane. Stuns out the Terra, allows the slow, and forcing the sprint.
Sprint just gets him out of there. Nice job. Getting the relic out is technically a win. Berserker's damage onto Eddie. A couple more basics. There's an enemy sprint, but beads used to get away from the Ullr stun. One more stun, but it misses. So Eddie's going to be safe. Nice knock up there to prevent the hammer telly.
Very important knock up. Meanwhile, in the solo lane, Ivan getting the better end of Toxic thus far. Not going to be favored is Toxic, since the Sickening Strike is just going to be able to out-sustain the Cerberus' jump. Even with the passive granting a little bit of anti-healing, a little bit of lifesteal potential, it's just not really enough to deal with such a tanky Sobek with the passive of building the Sobek protections every single basic attack.
Yeah, once he's able to get those sausages up, he's certainly going to be a little bit tougher to deal with than without him. And then, of course, he's got 10 stacks on that Warrior's Blessing, 11 now, making his way towards the protections once he's finished. AlLoro walking into some trouble there, but still no kills, plenty of action.
Forcing out a lot of these relics is going to be a good sign for these junglers to come in and clean up. No beats for Eddie 98 for another 100 seconds. I don't think Jose will hit level 5 in time to take advantage of that, but it's definitely a good opportunity to keep that in the back of your mind if Bakando in the mid lanes, Janus hits that level 5 marker.
There's a jump, oTPC. Nice. I liked that. Janus almost looked like that was planned from the get-go, like he had no, not a care in the world. No cares here, though.
Just trying to disengage cleanly. Really afraid of this level 3 Ratatoskr that's made a good presence thus far, stripping away the red buff the first time. Not going to do it the second time, considering the Agni a little too far away from assisting with the bombs, but always that presence of mind, it seems, coming from Drizzle with those offensive invades.
Yeah, really, really looking for the opportunity to strip things away, so certainly a nice look so far.
And that's what you got to have out of your jungler, just to be able to look for those plays. It's a jungler-driven Season 5 in Smite. Doesn't matter what platform you're playing from, as we're seeing a little bit of action from this Terra in the duel lane. Gets the root off as Franky rolls on in. Defensive stun, not really connecting onto anyone, as Eddie 98 is just casually poking from a distance.
That's what he's got to do with this Artemis. Jose in some trouble. I expected Mr. Agni to go a little bit more deep. But
not too much trouble. I mean, diving under the tier 1 tower with a dash, a little too risky, even if you only take one tower shot. Right next to him was also Bakando. If you get caught with that portal, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble, as the sprint was popped by Solos, trying to disengage from their own purple buff, but did end up securing it thus far, so all things even Steven in the dual lane.
Franky just walking away. I'm waiting for these teams to really hard commit. I want to see a team really go for it. Whether or not it's the right or wrong choice, totally. I just want to see what these guys look like when they exert everything out. You know what I mean?
Sure. And with Drizzle finishing out the Acorn, Jose going for Warrior Tabi, they got their level 5 global ultimates ready. I think this is going to be the go time for them to pick a specific side lane to put pressure in the left side. Going on in, Jose looking for
There it is. Nice kill coming out from the Thor. Janus rotation could add on to it, but
good trap.
Eddie with a nice trap will disengage. Nice job there from the Hunter, but Souls coming out on top. First blood for the blue team.
Going really well considering that first blood goes to your jungler. Shutting down a little bit of the Geb is a catch-22 because Eddie98 is allowed to get that solo farm now for a little bit. And an Artemis that gets the solo farm, well, transitioning a little bit better now in the mid to late game.
It might be a catch-22, but Jose with that first blood going to look clean like he's got a 9mm and a 3-piece suit. Soul's going to be able to use this lead that he's got right now. He's going to build the boots, finish the Transcendence, which is actually a very interesting choice on Thor that I don't immediately dislike. I normally don't like its second item, but if you are going to get the 500 First Blood bounty, I really don't mind it totally.
If you're not concerned about going... Oh, hold that thought, though, because a counter global ultimate from Drizzle gets out the beast, gets stunned, just needs the flurry to answer back. Nice
kill. Easy to answer on back there still. A little bit down, but basically tied the game with that one.
Pretty much, and shutting down Lyric is a great way to keep allowing Eddie to get the advantage. Solo lane, Ivan using Lurking the Water, forcing out a defensive blink from Tier. Doesn't seem that he wanted any part of that one without his jump available.
Yeah, I needed to have that. Whether he wants to use it to go deeper or disengage, still just needs that cooldown, so not going to have a chance.
You were talking about the Transcendence Rush on the Thor, and I don't necessarily mind it too much as the second item. It still gives you that 10% cooldown reduction, and if you're going to time this alongside another cooldown reduction with Jotun's Wrath, getting those extra 50 stacks while you're working on your Jotun's Wrath for the about an extra 22 to 23 power once you fully complete stacking it, not a bad idea before some of the important defenses come online from both Toxic and aFranky.
Yeah, usually my only concern with the Trans Rush is that it's so expensive,
sure,
right? And the 20% CDR from the Jotuns is usually a little bit nicer, but Thor looking to make use of his cooldowns right now.
Perfect CC chain, forcing out the disengage from Drizzle. Almost on the mark was Bacondos through space and time. aFranky going to get peeled away by his mid-mage Agni, forcing the beats out of Jose.
Just a big disengage coming out from Souls, so first of all, one of the things that usually you see the lower end teams, or the newer teams I should say, struggle with is their ability to reel it back, usually very aggressive to
sure,
a fault. Here I like to see that Thor went in and went for something, and the team had no problem peeling back. That discipline is really effective.
And that was a great timing to go onto the Ratatoskr without his beads, but every single time Thor's been looking for an ultimate, Drizzle's been looking for something in response, waiting for this rotation from Ullr, but Lyric saw this from a distance. Drizzle not going to be able to find the distance on it.
Oh well. Oh well, just gonna come up short there. Won't be eaten today. aFranky running forward. There's a stun onto AlLoro, and he was once there. Actually, he's still there.
aFranky's the one that dies.
oTPC.
He lives.
He couldn't find it.
Wow, just couldn't find the bombs, and now he's going to get taken out. Jose for the cleanup.
You can't miss those if you're trying to get into competitive. Got to be able to land your stuff. Souls winds up with 2 kills, but Bikwandu walks right into the Hunter. Eddie dealing the damage.
He's 1v3.
Oh my goodness.
He's winning this 1v3. He forces out Janus. Finally, Ullr jumps in. Thor dunk misses because of the Ullr axe stun, stopping him in his track. Great gank, and what a nice effort by Eddie. Almost winning that 1v3 as a level 9 Artemis.
Yeah, Eddie definitely earned some serious points there, for sure. So, unfortunately does fall down, but I'm still laughing.
Yeah, very close effort there. Really trying to get the edge over this Artemis before she becomes an absolute monster. and a nightmare in the late game, as Lyric is the one also going for a Transcendence. Already sitting about 19 stacks and trying to catch out this Artemis before she finishes stacking the Devil Gloves. Not a bad idea, trying to make sure she's not going to win some of these poke trades.
Yeah, the Devo Gloves right now, the ball is definitely in Ullr's court before these items get stacked. Once the Devo Gloves finish stacking, Ullr will still be doing more damage than the Artemis, don't get me wrong, unless she gets lucky and crits. But the back and forth lifesteal is just so much more effective.
Bikondo using that portal, dashing a little bit closer to apply the bomb, but the stun not in range. Second bomb connects as well. OTP doing a good job poking out Bikondo. And even though that's not a kill on the Janus, with that much health, you're forced to go back to base.
Jose getting breathed on here by Terra, and the ultimate. Good enough to do the damage. 4-2. Takedown finds their second kill.
Great timing from Toxic. Gets the damage off, but more importantly, prevents the stun from Jose. Gets himself that CC immunity with the Stygian Torment. Meanwhile, Takedown. They found a kill, and now they're going to go for a Gold Fury.
Really clean stuff. I mean, this is the classic. You got the kill, you get the objective after the fact. This is good stuff coming out from Takedown.
And Drizzle covering the option with that satellite ultimate, making sure that Lyric wouldn't be able to steal that away with a hail of arrows randomly around the corner.
AlLoroEsAltazon. Very aggressive here on the Terra. Not going to find anything just yet. A little bit of a reprieve now. I don't expect too much aggression from these teams with the Gold Fury down, because totally, there's really not much to fight over right now. So you take the Gold Fury, and you kind of wait 4 minutes and 20 seconds for it to come back up.
Trying to make something happen to come back. Souls doing a good job in the kill department, but that's going to slowly start trickling into Takedown's favor if they go for the objectives, catching right back up.
Oh, portal just off the mark, and the vortex narrowly avoided by aFranky. He gives a taunt that direction,
Frankie
but Thor
goes in surprisingly, misses the Cataclysm. Jose doing a great job disengaging.
Yeah, Jose, you know, it's interesting, Toli. I think that's one that you have to take. I think you got to go for it.
Nice kill out of OTP, just finding the Terra. They're all committed onto this Geb. They're trying to really get something going for the kill department, but diving a tier 1 tower for a Geb, even if it is even a level 9 Geb. The fact that this Geb goes for a Breastplate of Valor, hold that thought though, because Jose dies in the same spot 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. Just don't like that call, Toli. You just shouldn't be there, in my opinion. But what are you going to do there? No big deal. 4-4. That kill is, in my opinion, inconsequential. I don't think that's a really big kill there.
I definitely agree with you. I think that going for the Geb play, it's a sign of maturity. Once you're able to get a little bit more competitive games under your belt, you realize the plays that are worth making versus the plays that are really just not worth making.
Right.
As Takedown goes for their second objective. Good use again of the Satellite Global Ultimate to zone away.
Meanwhile, Eddie in some trouble. Going to use the ultimate to turn things around. Trap spotted. There's the Janus ultimate. Lyric, one basic should do it. Finds it. See ya.
Good use of using that Ullr movement speed booster to cut the distance. No escape whatsoever out of Eddie. Lyric actually almost accidentally backpedaling to the trap.
No, he axed the jungler.
Ah, Drizzle is going to get asked a question from Jose, missing the secondary stun. Good use of the Geb shield out of aFranky, but now it's on cooldown.
There's Terra popping the ultimate as well, but split decision. One player chasing aFranky, the other going in the other direction, and that is why I didn't have too much of a problem with going Transcendence totally. The damage that Thor can output is very, very big.
Scaling is pretty high, honestly, and getting this cooldown reduction, limiting some more or preventing some of these counter rotations from the Ratatoskr by having just more of his own global presence allows him to make the plays first and disengage in time.
Yep. Head of arrows. I like the way he says that.
He's got a good voice line.
He actually never says that. What he says is, wow! Wow! Sounds just like him.
It's pretty good.
Who wants some?
Did you voice this?
Wow! You know, that was a question when that skin first came out. People did ask me that, actually.
I believe it. It sounds just like it.
I have not, though. I do not have any. I have an announcer pack credit. The only voice acting credit I have is actually in Paladins, believe it or not.
I was just about to ask you. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I saw you in some sort of weird car, like a used car parking lot salesman act.
Well, right now, AlLoro, I wish he had a car to get on out of here, and he will. Yeah, no, that was I did a spot there. Jose landed right in the middle looking for Franky, but we'll walk in the other direction. Don't really know what's going on here. Ratatoskr landed down. Bad Gebalt, but a good Cerberus ult. Wrapping up two different players. They're in trouble. Sprint popped. It's a cacophony of abilities here in the middle lane. Takedown, not taking down anybody. Franky going to be missed. Finally falls down thanks to Even. And it's 6-4. Whole lot of violence for a single Sobek kill.
Good rotation finally coming out of Ivan. Toxic was the one that made 2 plays onto Jose 2 minutes in a row. Eddie, though, caught between a rock and a hard place, surrounded by all 5 members. Not the place to be as a lonely Artemis.
Lyric's in trouble. Surrounded by 3, dashing forward. Rat misses. Flurry gets him. Now looking one more. TPC grabs it.
The stun is good. One more basic out of Toxic. 3 for 1 at the end of the day, as Eddie 98 was the sacrificial lamb. Takedown to the first goal, Fury, maybe about 6 minutes ago, going for their second.
Jose. The old lazy back. And so, let it be known.
Almost stolen. Wow.
Almost stolen.
Good
Almost
try.
Stolen.
Good try out of Bikondo.
So, I do come into this this event a little bit differently than I would commentate something different, right? This is a brand new league with brand new players. Forgiving is the wrong word. I think understanding, right? Putting things into context. When I watch Adapting play, I'm going to be a little bit more critical of him than I am this brand new scene. I would love for these players to learn and to flourish and to grow.
I mean, you can't compare, let's say, LeBron James playing basketball versus like Aggro playing basketball, right?
Sure, but I mean, with jokes aside, it's more these guys are starting their careers.
That's what I'm saying.
These could be the next inbounds, right? These could be the next PS4 World Champions, but we're seeing them in their infancy. With that said, you can't do what Jose did at any level of competitive play. Backing their, even if it's in your jungle, quote unquote, there's no vision. It's not a safe place to back. Certainly have seen better plays for this jungler in the 17 minutes that we've been watching this game. I just want to make sure that that's a mistake and a standout outlier, not something we see again.
Offensively, Jose has been, looking for those plays, time in and time out. His build is dictating how offensive he actually wants to be, as Ivan is in a lot of trouble, surrounded by 4 players, takes a lot of damage over time. Here comes the counter rotation.
Oh no, Ivan goes back in, finds a tail whip. The Ratatoskr lands on top. Bikondo goes down. Another big Cerberus ult, and Eddie picks up the double kill.
The boar is just ping-ponging everywhere. Eddie's boar is doing so much work in that team fight, setting up those 2 easy kills. Now Lyric is trying to find the follow-up play, but it's Jose that finds the first strike for his team in this engagement.
Yeah, man, just incredible Artemis play. The up-down from Tier, not going to find it.
Really wants to hit this paralyzing spit, just doesn't have the range. Very accurate, as Drizzle is the one trying to chip away at the Tier 1 tower. The rest of his team concerned about getting their second Pyromancer of the game, extending that goal lead to about 3,500.
18.5 in. Takedown certainly looking to do exactly what their name says. Looking forward to the late game with the Artemis is certainly something that they've been doing since the first minute. But now after getting some farm Tolly, I think Eddie 98 really coming into himself.
Jose needs to find us to get something back for his team. But Drizzle doing a good job cutting back around the bend underneath those oracles, avoiding that Anvil of Dawn.
Drizzle here building a little bit tankier than I think players would expect. Masamune first item into a shifter shield. An item we don't see a lot of, and in my opinion, we don't see enough of. I actually really love Shifter's Shield on characters like Thor and Ratatoskr, where you want that damage. You know, it's 75 power.
It's pretty good.
It's 75 power when you're above 50 HP. That is absurd.
Whenever you're engaging anyway, you're trying to get in there with a global ultimate. So by the time you get in there, you're topped off. So getting this additional 70 physical
70
power,
I misspoke.
you're going to be able to really blow up some of these squishy backliners. Bikandu and Lyric are the two targets that Drizzle is looking for, and this item is great at doing so, especially when you pair this up with Masamune to get a little bit more protections the more people you're around.
And you've got that extra health as well, so Ivan gonna wiggle on out of here. You've got those extra protection, or the extra health, to sort of amplify what you're doing. You land down, you get the burst damage, and then when you start to get bursted, you're a little bit tankier, which is another thought process for Ratatoskr.
Oh, the bait! Eddie doing such a good job baiting. Ivan in a lot of trouble. Terra's Earth and Fury and the Geb Shield, all the abilities on top of Ivan.
Again, Tier Toxic with a huge ultimate coming out from the Cerberus. Eddie picks up one, the other Hunter grabs another across the way, and Tier Toxic starting to finish things up for Takedown. They've only lost 2 in exchange for Souls is 3. And although with Eddie down, they won't be able to continue the push here.
He's not done yet. He's baiting. He avoids both studs. The paralyzing spit was jumped over as Drizzle goes to the mid lane. Franky in a little bit of trouble as he uses his Geb Shield for his solo laner. And Toxic has been making the plays happen this game. 3-0-7, been a part of 10 of his team's 12 kills.
Toxic has been the most valuable player for me by far. I think you could look at Drizzle and say that he's been integral across the map, and that's very, very true. But the later moments of this game, we're 21 minutes in, from the mid game on, this Cerberus has just every single team fight totally. Every single team fight totally.
It's not even about the team fights that he's been so helpful with. It's also about how he shut down Jose in 2 different instances. Actually 3, one around the Gold Fury with a lazy back. But finding those 2 kills between the speed buff and the back camps when the Thor was about level 8 and 10 respectively just shuts him down. There were so many plays Jose was looking for, but because Toxic made that rotation, it stops any sort of plays C, D, and E from happening.
Gold Fury started by Takedown one more time. Lyric is in the vicinity, but Quandu has the ultimate. Because of those threats, Takedown will shy away from it. Pushing forward, looking for a team fight to open the window. TPC dealing with Quandu on the right-hand side, the rest of the squad on the left. Thor goes up. Jose looking for one. A little bit on the backside. Drizzle won't be able to get hit, but there's a serve up. Drizzle on the left side, looking for the Ullr.
On the backside, getting a good amount of damage. In goes Toxic, catching out the Janus. Yet again, Franky, the next target. Good pluck out of him. The Sobek finds his Drizzle, takes out the...
Eddie.
Wow,
Eddie.
so many.
Eddie. 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 Kills across the board.
That's the late game Artemis for you. Level 18, he got a little bit of crit online. Ivan trying to do what he can to poke his head around the corner for the Gold Fury steal, but he might have bitten off more than he could chew.
Yeah, stunned out. Gold Fury goes down. Ivan gonna fall down nice and easy there. 5 kills without a death for our jungle Ratatoskr. 5-0-7.
It's the defensive build helping him survive. Keep in mind, Franky's Geb Shield has been on point. He was the only victim for his team in that last little skirmish. 23 minutes in, Takedown feeling confident to make even more plays happen on the dual lane side before spending their golden hand.
Here comes AlLoro. No defense necessary. Good job. I like that call. It's not worth it to go in there, especially as a Terra. Just don't have the buttons to press. So tier 2 tower on the left-hand side does tumble, and that's going to be a 10,000 gold lead for Takedown.
And that's a great call from Takedown to go for those towers after the Gold Fury. Many teams will just be very happy about the Gold Fury secure in the first place and then just casually forget about what else they could take. But evaluating respawn timers is what allows you to get that competitive edge. If there's about a 30-second window, well, yeah, sure, you could go for that tier 1 and tier 2, no problem.
So Jose just looking for the farm on the back end. Likely to see a little bit of a reset here, but I don't want Takedown to slow down too much. I want to see them hard commit to a Pyromancer, which will probably lead to a kill or 2, which I think will open the door for the Fire Giant.
Yeah, Soul shouldn't even be trying to defend this Pyromancer. They could look for some steals potentially from a distance. Lyric's Hail of Arrows, maybe Bikandu's through space and time, but Not going to really position themselves too closely. As long as they have the vision for fire, they'll be fine.
I love where Tier's at right here. Takedown, that is the Cerberus player. On the right-hand side, looking to set up the perfect ultimate as he's done all game. His team pushing forward. Artie, go on the objective. Artemis should sit on the objective while his team zones.
As long as someone else tanks for it, because it's still difficult. Blinking in is aFranky. On the top side is Drizzle.
That's
lands in the mid lane, actually, as Eddie is thriving.
Meanwhile, left side, this could be number 3 if Drizzle finds it. Dash forward is good. Flurry strong. Double kill for the triple doggo. The Cerberus going to keep on going. Takedown turns around, looking for the Fire Giant. Half HP. Eddie is tanking, but everybody looking at Ivan. They're going to chase the Sobek down. Ivan!
The sprint is just so good. Gas pedaling. Drizzle in a 1v1 against Jose, but this level 20 Rat gets a little bit of assistance, and another deicide allows Takedown to go for this late game Fire Giant.
Cerberus. Great play from Takedown here. Totally, I think Takedown is the best player on the battlefield.
He's been, hard to say off of one game. I'm not going to give,
I mean, on this battlefield right now, he is performing the best.
He's been positioning himself in key moments to make those plays happen.
Yep.
Shutting down Jose between that speed and back camps have definitely allowed his team a little bit more success than normally, especially how accurate he's been with some of these paralyzing spits, diving some of these towers for the kills, using his Stygian Torment, very timely. Unfortunately, his team couldn't follow up on that one.
I don't like what Drizzle's doing. I understand you're a jungler, you need the speed buff, but join your team. That said, Takedown is your team, and he continues to find the kills.
Aegis, not enough to save Eddie's life, but Kondu punishing Eddie thus far for his transgressions. Toxic gonna go for a ride through the portal, gets plugged back in. Geb shield for the moment. He can't find the jump, it's a very small one.
There it is, over the wall. Here comes TPC with some zoning balls. Not going to be able to stun anybody, but the tier 2 in the mid lane does fall down, so Takedown wind up with their hands full. Ivan dash from behind. The Ratatoskr trying to finish things off, won't and can't. Goes to the sky, looking for an additional knock-up. Bam! It's on the other side. Takedown gets the kill.
A clean kill yet again. Drizzle leading the charge. This level 13 Terra is going to get the Agni dash right on top of her and still surviving through thick and thin. Takedown setting up the plays and disengaging.
Nice look coming out from aFranky. Dre's going to get stuck up, but one more hit takes down Kondu.
The mantle of Discord stuns out Lyric. That was such a timely passive proc, trying to make something happen in the backline. Jose lands onto oTPC, forces out the beats, but he's a lonely Thor, can't defend this Phoenix by himself.
That one goes down, and Takedown, they've got another minute on that Fire Giant. They're going to clear out the jungle and back. I would have liked to see them push for the left side Phoenix totally, but playing it safe, I suppose.
I think they probably have a lot of gold in hand, getting all those towers on the right side, getting the Phoenixes. 2,000 onto Drizzle, trying to really get some more items finished. Going for the Hydra's Lament. I like the amount of burst damage coming through for Drizzle. Now that he's gotten all his tanky items, he needs that one finishing one.
Yeah, there it is. It's going to be the Hydra's Lament. Ton of power on this build as well. What is that? 50 power on the Massive Moon, 70 power on the Shifter Shield, 40 power on the Hammer as well. Really enjoying where the Ratatoskr is going. Again, when we see hybrid builds, we usually see items like Void Shield. We usually see hybrid builds that err on the side of tankiness instead of offense. This is a hybrid build that I think is focused on 70% offense, 30% defense. And I like this. I like this Ratatoskr build.
It's working out very well for him thus far. Between the Fire Giant buff, between his Red Potion, he's sitting at 345 power. This is a good spot to be in to close out the game with all your assets in line already. oTPC's a late game Agni. You got Eddie 98 piloting this level 20 Artemis, going for the Deathbringer, Poison Star, Wind Demon combination. You add the passive in line, and you're looking for well over 60 to 70% crit.
That's why we see the Thorns coming out from Ivan Malago. Certainly wants to be wary of that. Also building into the Nemean line to look for some additional reflect damage. That's really where all that's coming from, and a nice look. I do like the adaptation from Souls, though. Noticing that they've been completely controlled by all of the CC. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Magi's cloaks. or just 3. The mid lane doesn't have one. But 3 separate Magi's Cloaks on Souls. I think that's the right move here. I like that optimization. They've identified an issue with their team fight, and they're trying to change things to work better. However, that said, Toli, they are 20,000 gold down.
It's a lot about the objectives. Once the Cerberus made his presence, Takedown did not allow Jose any breathing room. And that set up the Gold Fury one time for Takedown, where there was no Anvil of Dawn to worry about. And that one little window of opportunity, even if it is about 15 to 20 seconds, is all a team really needs to start building a lead slowly. It's also about how you hold on to a lead, and Takedown were in such a great position in terms of escaping, using older tools correctly, collapsing on the same target, disengaging when it really mattered. And that's why we're seeing them almost get their second win thus far today, finding their first one over Sift, and they're in a great position to win this one against Souls.
There he is. Fire Giant lands from the sky. I was wondering where he was.
Gotta wait for the meteor.
He's gonna go down just as quick as he showed up. I mean, you see the Fire Giant indicator on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's thunder and lightning, right? One comes first.
Yeah. Light travels faster than sound.
So you see the lightning and then you hear the thunder.
Yes.
This is the same way. You see the Fire Giant bar on the left, but you gotta wait.
A little bit.
And then you count the seconds, and that's how far away Fire Giant was.
Right side Phoenix, a little bit in a weakened state.
There's
Going
Tusky.
on in is the Terra, but Tusky ping-ponging in the back line through space and time, hits the tanky Franky, but it's not enough to find any kills.
Jose. Oh man, right side, didn't even see that one. Eddie grabbing Ivan. And the right side could be the hole that Takedown are looking to push through. Takedown making his way to the middle lane. But there's Thor landing on top, low damage. Takedown in some trouble. Franky gonna turn around and say, no way, Jose.
2 for nothing. Takedown feeling confident to keep on the pressure. Goes in, Terra tries to control people with the root. Eddie 98 receiving some of this Geb shield, and Takedown with their second win.
Just nicely done. 20,000 gold in the lead at certain points. Almost a 30,000 gold lead, to be honest with you, Toli, at the last moments. Really, really nice. Loved what things were happening there. The solo lane Cerberus, though, stole my heart.
He made the plays. He was there for the hot cleanup plays. Every single time Jose was looking for an aggressive play, he would collapse back onto his speed buff. But it seemed that it was Takedown that just had the cooldowns of that buff in his mind. He knew when that was going to be happening, cleaned up perfectly also that Stygian Torment to prevent the Thor stun and find lethal just perfectly timed.
Yeah, really, really clean stuff coming out from Cerb.
Trying to make it happen in the Gold Fury as well. Off of that one pick, there was so much pressure. Look how they collapse onto the one target. Ullr has his advantages and disadvantage, and if he's that far forward without a get for himself, Terra used all her abilities. He's just a sitting duck.
Yeah, I mean, the Cerberus was just in the right place. You said it when I brought it up the first time. I said, I've enjoyed what the Cerberus was doing. You immediately went to the positioning.
Yes.
And that's what I noticed the most out of Cerberus, was that he was finding himself on the flank a lot of the time. When you're playing these frontliners, usually the desire is to literally be in the front line.
Yep.
I'm in front of my friends, you can't hit them. But instead, he looked for the sort of surprise flank the way an assassin would, and that allowed him to get the Stygian Torments off completely and allowed his team to really follow up and find the damage.
And outside of that, it's like his Ghastly Breath, Voidstone combination, giving him so much penetration. I think it's about 57 or so combined at max rank, to allow also the Agni a lot of damage. oTPC with the Agni bomb stuns was making it happen in the battlefield, just to catch out to Ullr, forcing out his beads to punish any sort of offensive positioning from the opposite side of Souls.
Yeah, really enjoyed this one so far. Takedown able to get their second win so far.
Finding the win over Sift, and the second one here, it took a little bit long time. It was about an average game length, but they wanted to make it clean. They weren't overextending to force Phoenixes. Any sort of advantage they had in terms of a deicide around the Gold Fury, they made sure to go for the tier 1 and the tier 2 tower. They didn't overstretch to a Phoenix. They made sure that they found every little thing cleanly.
Yeah.